But first, let's see what this looks like in the real world. How do we know if what we see or hear is harassing? Let's look at it this way. If it is unwelcome, if it creates a pattern of repeated incidents, and if an unreasonable person would find it offensive. Let's talk about this for a minute. Every day we may be treated in ways we don't like. How do we know if something we do is unwelcome? The easiest way to tell is how the other person reacts. And if an advance is unwelcome and repeated, it can be considered harassing. Regarding the third point, reasonable person, believe it or not, this is an actual legal term coming from courts. It is used as a guideline for juries, and it continues to be used to level set what is acceptable and what is not. For example, a reasonable person probably wouldn't say that a tap on the shoulder is sexually harassing. On the other hand, taps on other body parts might be. Based on the unwelcome criteria, behavior only needs to be perceived as offensive to be considered harassment. Does that mean you can get in trouble by accidentally, unintentionally harassing someone? Well, hopefully not after this training. But seriously, what if all this slips your mind? While, yes, it is possible, harassment does not have to be intentional to be unwelcome. It only needs to be perceived as offensive. So, in summary, what is important is that when a behavior is not welcome, it should not be repeated because it will probably become offensive. The best advice is to be aware of whether our behavior, especially when it is perceived as sexual in nature, is welcome or not. Good. Next, let's put these definitions to a test. Keeping those definitions of sexual harassment in mind, let's take a look at a few scenarios, like this one. A female supervisor is frequently making comments about a male employee's physique. What do you think? Is it harassment? The answer is likely yes. Why? Well, first of all, we have repeated verbal conduct, and the fact that a woman is making comments about a man has no bearing. Harassers and victims can be either sex, or same sex for that matter. So many red flags in this situation. The comments could be perceived by the man as a welcome compliment. Or maybe not, we don't know. Does he perceive it as harassment? If he does, then it is. And no response from him does not necessarily mean it's okay, right? All that aside, even if he did welcome the comments, what is the impact on his work team around to hear this going on? Does it interfere with the work? Probably for them, it will create an unwelcome, hostile environment, distracting and uncomfortable for nearby workers. Let's try another one. Everyone should get this one. A similar scenario. A male supervisor makes frequent comments about a male employee's physique. Is this sexual harassment? What do we say about the sex of the harasser and the victim? Again, the answer is likely yes. Remember, the sex of the offender or the victim has no bearing, even if it is between two members of the same sex. What about this example? Two coworkers forward each other off-color jokes they receive in email. Is this harassment? The answer is probably. It's true. Both employees are engaging in similar behavior towards one another. But even so, this behavior is a risk. In what way? Because who knows when the emails will cross the line and become offensive to one or the other of them. Because of this, most workplace policies prohibit this kind of behavior electronically. Does it make it okay that the harassment happened through electronic communication? No, electronic communication is just another place it happens, and in fact, it is happening more and more. The growth of social media has increased harassment in social media, texting, and emails. It has become a bigger and bigger problem to manage and often results in acts that are more offensive because the parties